Pro Tour Hour of Devastation has begun, and there's a lot to talk about, but what we must start with, a deck tech. And not any old deck tech, a deck tech featuring friggin' Imminent Doom. That's right. No intro to this video, we're getting right into it because Magic is absurd, and this card's at the Pro Tour. What world do we even live in? Alright, let's focus. Imminent Doom is 3 mana for an enchantment, and it enters the battlefield with a Doom counter on it. Whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost equal to the number of Doom counters on it, Imminent Doom deals that much damage to target creature or player, then put a Doom counter on it. This is what's at the Pro Tour. One of the cards I had no idea how to make good, this is at the Pro Tour. The justification behind its inclusion is that even if you manage to just tick it up to 4 Doom counters, that's still 6 damage, and you can target most anything you want, creatures or players. It's flexible and gives value over the long term. Now let's look at the rest of the deck that makes this thing good. So for Imminent Doom to do its work, any deck it's in has to have a large amount of 1-drop spells. Remember, the Doom can only tick up when you cast a spell with the exact same converted mana cost as there are counters on it, and it always starts at 1. With that in mind, the deck runs Magma Spray and Shock. Both solid 1-drop burn spells. Magma Spray is especially good in a format with Earthshaker Kenra, a bunch of zombies. It's basically an all-star right now. And Shock is just solid. 2 damage for 1 mana at instant speed, can't argue with that. Of course, just Magma Spray and Shock wouldn't be enough to justify the Doom's inclusion or have it reliably trigger, which means there's another 1-drop we have to look at. Lightning Axe. Haven't seen this card in a while, finally getting to stretch its legs once again. While there are conditions to use this burn spell, the converted mana cost on it is 1, and that's all that Imminent Doom cares about. Even if you have to discard a card, you're ticking up your Doom and getting a free point of damage out of the deal. There are times where that will absolutely be worth discarding a card. Think about it. 5 damage to something, an additional 1 damage to whatever you want, and the Doom ticks up to 2 counters. Not a bad deal. So once you get your Doom to 2 counters, then what? The 2-drop slot is full of loot cards. Cathartic Reunion and Tormenting Voice make up the majority of the 2-drop triggers for Imminent Doom. In addition to just being solid filtering effects, both of these cards will allow you to ditch cards you can't trigger the Doom with, and draw into cards you can. The entire point of this deck is to get your Doom online and tick up quickly. With these types of effects, you're going to be able to do that relatively fast. Remember, you have made a 3 mana investment for this enchantment. It has to work fast or it won't be worth playing at all. These loot spells are aggressive but necessary to get the right mana cost cards when you need them. The only other 2-drop in the deck is Abrade, and from the first day of the Pro Tour as well as New Standard in general, this shouldn't surprise anyone. This stupid card is absurd, and it's potentially one of the best cards in the format right now. 2 mana to bolt a creature at instant speed is real good, and with that artifact option, in a format with Bomat Courier as well as vehicle strategies and God Pharaoh's Gift, Abrade just keeps getting better and better. A full playset here, a full playset in most decks to be honest, so good, and another 2-drop for your Imminent Doom. What's most important about Imminent Doom is getting the counters off the ground. You need to get your 1 mana spell before your 2 mana spell before your 3 mana spell, which means that you need the most 1 mana spells, then 2 mana spells, then 3 mana spells, which is why at the 3-drop slot we only have a few cards. Hilariously, the Doom counts itself as a 3 mana card, which means that once your original Doom is at 3 counters, you can use a second Imminent Doom to tick it up to 4. That's nasty stuff. The other 3-drop in the deck is Fiery Temper. I love this card straight to death and I'm so happy it's in here. Fiery Temper is crazy strong in here, not only as a 3-drop burn spell that fits the Imminent Doom curve, but as a great discard target for Cathartic Reunion, Tormenting Voice, and a Lightning Axe. You get so much value out of using the Madness ability on this, it isn't even funny. Best part? It retains its converted mana cost of 3, even if you Madness it. The explosive turns you can create with discard spells, Lightning Axe, and Fiery Temper are just nuts. It's a ton of damage, and your Doom will trigger off of some of these spells. That's a lot of damage. Just a truly ridiculous amount of damage. We're still not done. You thought that moving the Doom up to 3 counters was it? Please. Chandra Torch of Defiance is in the deck as a 3 of, and it's touted as being one of the best cards here. There's a reason it's expensive. The card is just way too good to ignore. When it resolves with the Doom trigger, that's a free 4 damage you get out of nowhere, and you get your walker on the battlefield. Best part about Chandra in this deck, it's incredibly easy to protect her. Your entire deck is made up of removal and ways to get more removal. Chandra can survive a really long time, long enough to get your ultimate online, long enough to +1 as much as you need to, or Flame Slash whenever you want. There is no budget alternative for this card. Chandra's just plain insane. The last 4-drop in the deck is Hazoret the Fervent, another discard outlet for the cards you can't trigger your Doom with, or Fiery Temper. Gets you a shock on an opponent each time, and she's a great way to close out games, especially against strategies you may have a hard time dealing with otherwise. Hazoret is your silver bullet against bad matchups, and beyond that, this god gives you the reach you may need in the late game. Just plain good. Now, you'll never get to this card with Imminent Doom, but Bedlam Reveler is just straight up broken in this strategy. 26 total sorceries an instance, Bedlam Reveler is going to cost 2 to 4 more often than not, and when you do play this Devil Horror, the game takes a turn. You get a 3-4 with Prowess, and you get 3 new cards for what? 2 mana most of the time, sometimes 3 or 4, come on. Bedlam Reveler has always been decent, especially in blue-red spell-based decks, but in this strategy in particular, it shines with the fury of 1,000 suns. It's so strong. The last non-land card in the deck, Burn From Within. I waited until the end to show this card to you because it's the most flexible in the entire deck, and it was clearly made a year ahead of time. It drops indestructible from whatever it hits, and it exiles the creature when it dies this turn. That's so incredibly anti-Amonkhet, it isn't even funny. This thing was made with forethought. Best part? You can use it at any point in your Imminent Doom curve. That X becomes part of the converted mana cost. You decide where you want it to trigger. Desperate for something at 1 or 2? You can do that. Want a free tick up at 4 or 5? You can do that too, and just throw 10 damage all over the place. All the while annihilating an Amonkhet god, a dragon, anything with Eternalize. I mean, Burn From Within, this is its moment. This card is stupid right now. It really brings the entire deck together. What a bomb. As far as lands are concerned, it's pretty standard at this point. Ramunap Ruins and Sunscorched Desert take up a combined 6 slots in the deck. Surrounded by 16 mountains, that's 22 lands in total, just enough to get what you need going, and not too much that you'll ever really flood. With all the discard and looting in the deck, finding the right amount of mana has never been easier. What a crazy deck we're looking at right now. Imminent Doom is a weird as heck enchantment, and without a shell like this, I don't think it could be playable, but with this specific deck makeup, the Doom shines. It looks real good. With the combination of powerful early drops, aggressive loot effects, and cross-card synergies, Imminent Doom is propped up in a big way. The additional damage gained from the Doom throughout the course of a normal game will absolutely make that 3-mana investment worth it. It's important to remember that in a deck like this, ticking up the Doom is the most important thing. The entire deck is designed around it, so once you get to 3 mana and you get that Doom online, be as aggressive as possible to tick it up. You need that extra damage ASAP. Don't be shy, don't hold back. That's why you have Bedlam Reveler and Fiery Temper and Lightning Axe and Hazoret. No holding back, just go crazy all the time. This is the ultimate version of Mono Red if I've ever seen it. It's beautiful and terrifying. If we're looking at sideboarding, Incendiary Flow is a go-to for the mono-red matchup, zombies, anything that utilizes the graveyard in a big way. Incendiary Flow is a great 2-drop to stifle that value. If you want a natural 5-drop for the Doom, Glorybringer is a solid sideboard staple. Good against most creature-based strategies, especially post-board when your opponent will certainly take out a lot of their removal. Comes out of nowhere and wrecks face. Get that extra copy of Magma Spray in there for the same reasons Incendiary Flow is coming in, pretty easy to include there. Chandra's Defeat is one of the strongest sideboard options, considering Mono Red has taken over the format. I would include at least 2 to 3 of these. Honestly, in the coming weeks, I wouldn't even bat an eye at 4 to be honest. Card is great against 25% of the meta right now, and you're already main decking for Abrade, which is the best way to answer vehicles, which ends up being one of your worst matchups. Good thing this deck matches up favorably against most everything else. What a crazy build. So what do you think of Imminent Doom Mono Red? Is this the type of Mono Red deck you've been looking for? Do you prefer this version to the creature-based version we've seen blow up over the last few weeks? I'd love to hear what you have to say, so be sure to leave all your thoughts in the comments and we'll talk about them. Also, we're always listening. Want a specific type of deck tech, another series you missed? Let me know what you want. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. Alright, standard prices are going absolutely bonkers right now, but I can tell you one thing, Imminent Doom isn't going anywhere. This deck is hilarious and certainly fun to play, so if you want to get started, you can get your Dooms at 15 cents each. I'm not joking. Literally 15 cents each. That's 60 cents for a playset. I can find that change underneath my living room couch cushions. Look, you want in on the deck, here's a place to start. Just click the link on the screen. Helps the channel. We all win. Enjoy.